They made her stand up, twice. Once to explain why she was in first class, and then again when they still didn't believe her. The man behind her? White, unbothered, barely glanced at. No one asked for his boarding pass, his seat number, his reason. No one cared. But her? She was a black woman traveling alone, and that, apparently, was enough to trigger the system. No shouting, no accusations, just quiet humiliation, served in precise stages like it had been practiced. Because it had. But what if this wasn't just a mistake? What if every coincidence that followed wasn't bad luck, but calculated sabotage? Because what happened next didn't just cost someone a seat, it cost a billion-dollar airline its future. And the person they tried to erase? She didn't shout. She didn't protest. She made one call. This is the story of Layla Johnson. LaGuardia Airport was humming with the low, efficient buzz of early morning travel. Just past 6 a.m., fluorescent light bounced off polished tile floors, casting elongated reflections of travelers dragging expensive luggage behind them. The suits were pressed. The heels were silent. Phones lit up with email replies and boarding gate checks. Amidst the flow, Layla moved calmly, deliberate in her pace, understated in her presence. She wore a slate-gray blazer with a structured navy slacks, minimal in aesthetic but unmistakably elite in tailoring. Her black tote bore no logo, but the clean leather cuts whispered exclusivity. She was on her way to Zurich. This wasn't leisure, it was closure. A $310 million cross-border merger, final negotiations to be conducted in a glass-towered conference room near Lake Geneva. It had taken 2 years of strategy, global counsel, and compliance due diligence. She had been the linchpin holding it all together. Her boarding pass had been confirmed, twice, digitally and in hard copy, printed on composite stock with embossed foil indicating Havenair International, first class, seat 2A. It was registered through Nova Apex, her firm's executive corporate account. Her assistant had confirmed the itinerary. The airline's concierge team had confirmed it again. But as she reached the first-class check-in counter at Terminal C, none of that mattered. The woman behind the counter, frosted pink nails, hair neatly pinned, looked right past her. Economy check-in is that way, she said, not unkindly. Just cold. Dismissive. Layla smiled, not because she was amused, but because she knew better. She calmly handed her phone screen forward. First class to Zurich, she said evenly. The agent didn't move. I said economy check-in is that way. Layla pulled out the hard copy boarding pass and extended it. This time, the agent took it, stared, and her expression tightened. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just a tap of the headset. Security, we've got a verification discrepancy. Kiosk 4. Layla did not move. Her spine straightened. Her breath slowed. A white man stepped up behind her in a baby blue blazer. Zurich, right? The agent beamed at him. You're good to go, sir. She watched. Still silent. 2 security officers approached. Not aggressive, but alert. One scanned her boarding pass. His brow furrowed. Then he muttered something into his walkie. We'll need you to step aside, ma'am. Layla complied. Her heels tapped the tile in clean, clipped cadence. No protest. She stood aside while others boarded. Minutes passed. Her credentials were confirmed. No apology. No explanation. The agent didn't even glance back at her as she waved her toward the TSA pre-check lanes. But Layla had seen this choreography before. It was subtle, calculated. Discretionary discrimination wrapped in policy language and polite tones. At TSA, she was randomly selected for a secondary screen. Shoes off, electronics out. Open the folder. The sealed folder, labeled Horizon Equity Internal Only, was rifled through by an officer with bare hands. You in finance or something? He joked. Something like that, she said quietly. Seems heavy for someone going digital. Layla didn't reply. Some of us still deal in real assets, she finally answered. She reassembled her belongings and moved to the lounge. At the scanner, her access QR flashed red. Your access is inactive, the receptionist said. Layla showed the receipt. 3 scans later, it worked. Inside the lounge, she didn't eat. She didn't check email. She stared out the window at the waiting tarmac, cataloging everything that had just happened. Not rage. Strategy. She wasn't just wealthy. She was leveraged. And leverage doesn't shout. It waits. 20 minutes before boarding, she moved to the gate. When she presented her boarding pass, the agent frowned. Scanned again. Then again. I'm sorry, but it looks like your reservation has been reassigned. You're now listed in 32B. What? Layla said, voice sharp but calm. It may have been an operational reallocation. You mean I was moved from an $8,700 first-class seat to economy? Without notice? The attendant shrugged. It happens. I'd like to speak with a supervisor. The girl scribbled a number on a receipt slip and slid it across the counter. They'll help. Layla stepped to a secondary desk. No greeting. The agent typed in her name. Yes, I see. 32B. I see it too, Layla replied. Why? The manifest locked. Can't change it. System override. Was it a security directive? No, ma'am. Layla leaned in. Then find someone who can fix it. The agent whispered into a radio. A few minutes later, you were reassigned due to ticket conflict. And who got my seat? I don't have visibility into that. Of course you don't, Layla thought. She turned back toward the lounge. This time, the scanner denied her again. Your class no longer includes lounge access, the receptionist said. I paid for it. It included this an hour ago. System may not have updated your downgrade yet. They let her in, but only just. Inside, she retrieved a white envelope from her tote. Inside were 3 cards, a Nova Apex executive card, a Sovereign Access ID, and a slim chip embedded with a proprietary code. She tapped the chip to her phone and opened a secure folder labeled Failsafes. One file was marked Stage 1, Trigger Event. She didn't open it yet, but her finger hovered over the file. Because what was happening wasn't an accident. It was an erasure, a systemic, digital, procedural dismantling. And they picked the wrong name to erase. Layla drafted a message to her assistant. Check the manifest. Cross-reference timestamps. Alert if anomalies detected. Then she waited. Back at the gate, a new boarding pass was issued. Warm from the printer. Here you go, the agent said. It still read 32B. She tucked it in her coat and waited. Boarding began. Group 1, Group 2, then 3. She waited until most had gone. Then, calm, collected, she walked down the jet bridge. The flight attendant smiled at the man in front of her. Welcome, sir. May I take your coat? Then to Layla. Oh, your main cabin, 20 rows down. She nodded. Flying for work? The woman asked. No, Layla said, cool. Personal business. She found her seat, middle row. Overhead bins full. She had to walk 5 rows forward to stow her tote. Then back. The man beside her didn't move as she squeezed in. The woman at the window was asleep. Layla adjusted. Saturday. Waited. No one offered her a drink. A towel. Not even eye contact. Later, she requested still water and her pre-registered gluten-free, dairy-free, low-sodium meal. We don't show a meal for your class, the attendant said. Layla showed the confirmation email. That's reserved for premium class only, the attendant said. You mean the class I paid for, but was removed from? The woman smiled thinly. We'll do our best. They didn't. She received a packet of peanuts and a Coke. She couldn't eat either. Not due to taste, but autoimmune inflammation. She requested water again. Declined. The man ahead of her got 2 bottles. She closed her eyes. Didn't sleep. At landing, the attendant passed by. Traveling solo, she asked. Yes. Not many solo travelers book first, unless it's corporate. I own the account, Layla replied. The attendant blinked. Said nothing. At the terminal, her bag was missing. She approached an agent. It was moved to checked luggage, he said. That's not possible. It was flagged for overhead dimension conflict. There was no tag. No authorization. I boarded with it. Decisions are made in real time, ma'am. At baggage claim, no bag. No record. You'll have to wait for manual sweep, the clerk said. That bag had held proprietary documents. $300 million merger paperwork. She contacted her assistant. Confirm last 5 file uploads. If anything is missing, initiate emergency purge protocol. It was missing. She was rerouted. Reclassified. Profile flagged. She went to the security desk. Someone said you were recording flight crew. The officer said. That's not true. We need to search your bag. Probable cause? Passenger complaint. She allowed the search. The Platinum Watch. The Horizon documents. Opened. Violated. This is confidential, she said. We're clear, the officer mumbled. She zipped the bag herself. You don't have permission, she told them. She walked away, opened her tablet, pulled up the system she had once helped build for Orion Airlines. Her status, erased. Loyalty profile, blank. Lounge access, revoked. Flagged. Behavior code 37C. The very code she had helped create 2 years ago to help Orion identify risk passengers. Now she was the risk, not for behavior, but for being black, solo, and unapologetically present. She accessed back-end logs. Her tier had been downgraded. Flagged. Overridden. By Trent Maxwell, Regional Operations Lead. The man who had smiled at her 3 weeks ago in a Zurich summit. Now he had erased her. Digitally. Publicly. But what they didn't know, Layla had kept override keys. She tapped her encrypted device. Called Apex Desk. Initiate full extraction, she said. Nova Capital divesting from Orion. Immediate. Confirmed. $480 million withdrawn. 10-minute window. Quiet cascade, she ordered. Let them discover it themselves. She drafted an email. To Orion's VP and CEO. Title, Immediate Oversight Notice, Civil Rights Violation. Attached, 9 audit files. 24 testimonies. Internal chat logs. Proof of systemic racial targeting. She sent it. Waited. Within hours, Orion's market value dropped 16%. CNBC asked, "Is this orchestrated?" Yes, it was. By the woman in seat 32B. By the woman denied a glass of water. By the woman erased at gate C12. Now she was the one rewriting the system. And no one ever saw her coming.